Hey everybody, it's Kim. So I'm not going live today, but I am going to offer you some tips. So the other day I went live on Facebook, and thank you to the over 700 of you that have watched the video. I love that. I offered you some outside of the box tips to help continue to create some career momentum as we're sort of stuck at home. That won't cost you any money. And I'd kind of like to build on that. So if you didn't see that last video, please go look for it on either my consulting page, KFG, Performing Arts Consultant, or on my personal page, Kimberly KF Greenberg, or my actor page, Kimberly Faye Greenberg. You'll find it posted in any of those places. But to recap those, so I was telling you that now is a great time to first, if you're an actor who wants to do television, now is a great time to watch all the television shows in your market so they can figure out where you fit, get storylines together, see how everyone's dressing so that when auditions come around, you already have filled in so that you're not like trying to binge watch those things last minute when you get an audition that's like due the next day. It's also a good time to kind of see where you could market yourself at this point where you fit, maybe some pieces that you're missing. I also talked about the fact that you could use now to sort of up your social media game by creating lots of content, scheduling it to post. All of that takes tons of time, and in order to increase engagement on your social media, you have to be consistently posting. So the best way to do that so that it doesn't infringe on your time as a human is to schedule everything in advance. So this is a great time to do that as well. I also suggested now is a great time to kind of go through the shows that are currently auditioning a lot in our market. For instance, I like to give the example of Mamma Mia. And if there are shows out there that you're currently right for, that you could be learning that material. In addition, if you have any dream roles or shows that you think are going to be produced a lot in the coming future, now is the time to start learning all those roles in those shows so that when you get auditions for them, you're not binging it the night before, trying to learn everything the night before or a couple days in advance. It gives you sort of time to let it sink into your body. You then have the opportunity to create videos of that material that you could have to submit for future auditions, that you could post on your social media to help you schedule social media in advance. I also had suggested that now is a great time to practice your self-tape skills. You only need things around the house to be able to do that, so figure out which lamps light you best, which areas of the house work best, which way your phone works best, how you can do that now, because more than likely in the coming weeks, a lot of us as performers are going to be having a lot of self-tapes due, and we're going to be able to have to do those in the comfort of our own home. So trying to figure out how to do that now is really going to help you. So I sort of wanted to build on that, those ideas right now, and as we kind of go day to day, I'll come back and give you some other tips and advice. Okay, so today I wanted to sort of give you an idea about marketing and strategy as an actor and how you can sort of level that up. It won't cost you any money, and you could do that right now at home. So obviously, many people have already said this. This is not an outside-of-the-box idea, but now is the time to up your website, up your resume, create some cover letter templates that you could use for submissions, those things like that. Obviously, update your casting websites on Actors Access, Casting Networks, New York Casting, SAG-AFTRA, update your LinkedIn profiles, update your Backstage profiles. Now is the time to sit and do that. Also, update your YouTube feeds. Make sure that all your performing videos that you have access to on your laptop can be put on YouTube, so that when people are Googling you, you have things available for people to watch. And now it's really important that that be the case, because a lot of auditions are not going to be happening in person. When we finally probably come back into audition season again and things sort of coming back around again and shows opening up, things casting are probably going to be happening very quickly because people are behind. So having things online that people can look at now would be great. Also, I would highly recommend you take the time now to Google yourself. No, it's not an ego thing. It's a business thing. You need to see what pops up because people do that all the time. Find out what things are popping up. Change some of those things if you have access to the sites that pop up to update them. Also, if your website and you are not popping up because you have a popular name, now is the time to start sharing your website, sharing your content, so that Google will sort of get an alert that you exist, and you'll start going to pages that will pop up first when your name is Googled in a Google search, okay? So now I also want to emphasize that there are things you can start to make now that won't cost you money now, but that you can use later on when things sort of pick back up again. So a big thing that I love using as an actor are postcards. I'm a big advocate for postcards. I know that some people might feel differently about those, but I've always felt that by putting a stamp on something and sticking it in the mail, whoever gets it can take a quick look at it as like a quick advertisement and throw it away. Or if they so choose, they can put it in a filing system or in a bulletin board. There's really no harm, no foul. You're not clogging up an inbox. And it's just as simple as a piece of mail that if somebody doesn't want it, they can just throw it away. Obviously, postcards won't go to people who tell you they don't want a postcard, and that's fine. But I've always found them very helpful and never a hindrance. Depending on the season and depending on the kinds of things I'm doing, I usually do a postcard update every quarter, and I always make them different depending on what I'm doing. So I wanted to give you guys a few examples. I would highly recommend you use Vistaprint to make your postcards. No, I do not get any sort of kickback for telling you that. It's just a service I've been using for years. And I can go back in and very easily edit my postcards to create something that I really love, and then they can print out, and I get sent the postcards, I address them, and then I mail them. Also, I'm starting to input my addresses into Vistaprint themselves to sort of take away some time of actually me doing the mailing on my end, since time is of the essence. So that's also something that Vistaprint can do if you so choose. You can actually give them the addresses and they can mail the postcards for you when you tell them to send them. So I'm just going to give you a couple of examples of things that you can sort of think about and you can design now to have on hand now so that when you need them, when things start to pick up, you can use them later or, tweak them a bit for your use later. So it costs you no money to go on Vistaprint and start to design things now, because I know a lot of people are not savvy with that kind of thing, and it might take you some time to figure out. And when something's actually going on, you don't actually have the time to design and sit down and figure it out. So do it now, because now you have the time. So for example, I'll show you a couple of the postcards I use now. So I like to say a couple of things are important when you're using marketing materials in your performing career. I'm a big advocate for branding, which many of you who know me and work with me, it's basically a descriptive adjective phrase that describes you and what you offer the world, so that when people see pictures of you and then they read your phrase, they're getting a sense of you as an entire human, so that your personality sort of pops off the page. Okay, so for instance, this is a lovely postcard I have right now. Yay! So this is what I like to, actually this is actually an older postcard. Hold on, let me update this because I don't use this headshot anymore. But anyway, this is just a general postcard that I was using that kind of shows three sides of me. It has my name, it has my branding statement, which says sassy, brassy, New York, Jewish broad with a biting, sarcastic wit and quirky charm. It has my unions and it has my website. On the back, this is also how I like to suggest sometimes doing it. I'll show you a couple of different options. So I put a different headshot on the back with all my agent and manager contact info. And then I write something, usually a little like hello or a little paragraph of what I want to say. For instance, I say, check out what's been going on or what is upcoming. Reach out anytime and be sure to visit my website for tons of info. And then at this point in time when I made this postcard, so I had my solo show going to Kansas. I was recording a couple of different albums. And then I was also doing a show at 54 Below, and I was also doing a reading of a new musical. So this was at a time when a lot of things were going on, and obviously I wanted to send a postcard about it. So here's how that went. Okay. So then I also, right now, this is a postcard I currently use because I play a lot of historical women. Whenever I hear somebody's casting a historical project, this is the postcard I use to send to them to say, hey, remember me? And usually it also comes with some sort of update on the back of something that's going on. But again, it says sassy, brassy, New York broad. I say with the penchant of playing historical women. This is why you see these pictures. On the back, again, my agent and manager contact info. I have a couple of my accolades, Fanny Brice Go-To Gal, and the first and only actress to play roles in 2 operatic musicals at the same time. And then usually I'll write a little something here with an update or I'll make a label that has an update on it so I don't have to write it 100 million times on a card. This is what gets shot in the mail. If I find out that somebody's casting something that I'm right for that has to do with a historical broad, I would write it on the back and stick it in the mail, okay? So that's how I would do that. Obviously, you don't have to use 3 pictures. Here's an old postcard that I have with 1 picture. Look, 2014, guys. Again, this was the things I was doing at the time. On the back, it has listings of my project with my headshot and my branding statement. This was a show I was doing, so I made my own show postcard. Here you go, with all the show information on the back, a little bit about me, and I sent that in the mail. I always say that it's good to either put a similar picture or something on it that sort of is like a commercial. Like when you see Flo, the insurance commercial on TV, and you know they say you have to hear something 10 times before you sort of remember it. I feel like the same goes for any sort of advertisement that you're getting in the mail. Like you have to get something 10 times before somebody goes, oh yeah, I know and I understand what this product is or who that person is. So I like to also always try to make sure that there's some semblance of something always being the same in everything I mail so that people will kind of get a pitch of who I am and they'll start to remember, which is why I literally put my branding statement on everything, although the pictures will change up every now and then. So for instance, here's another postcard, just a simple postcard, my headshot, my Fanny photo, and then on the back it's got a few other conglomerations of photos and another picture with my contact information. All right, so really there's no rules. It's just that you try to take the time to come up with something that's uniquely you. It needs to be easily readable. It needs to be it needs to give a sense of your personality popping off the page, but it still should be professional. It should still contain all the pertinent information that somebody would need to look you up or contact you. You don't want to have it too like crazy to look at, like, you know, confetti and all that stuff. You don't need any of that. But see, here's another little postcard that I've used, again, with pictures and contact info on the back. And this was just to announce that I had new rep. So this is what went out. And I'll show you a couple of other, if I have any. I've used so many recently that I don't have a lot left. Oh, so here's another example of things I use now. So I showed you, I tend to have gotten more specific in my postcard mailings as I've gotten older and how I do them, because a lot of people know me. So I feel like now I can be even more specific of the reasons why I'm mailing to them. So I showed you my historical gal postcard. This is something that you can do too. This is just like my quirky, funny, comedy, sitcom, commercial, everyday host gal postcard. So it's like we now have all these headshots that we use that are specific for specific projects. So that's why I've created specific postcards. So again, this is more my dramatic, Law and Order, very New York type of gal again. Again, room on the back, contact info, and room for me to write or put like a label of something that I'm doing right now. And then I just keep them on hand. And then when I hear a project is casting, then I can mail a postcard, or if I need to send a thank you, or if I have an announcement to make, literally all I have to do is take my postcards, write something on the back, or print a label and stick it in the mail. So they come in handy a lot of the time. You know, it saves money on sending pictures and resumes. It's a really quick read for anybody who receives one. It's not going into anybody's inbox, and I feel like it's just a savvy way of contacting people. So now's a good time to sort of think outside the box and how you would like to make your own postcards. Here's another example. This was a nice big one this is old, obviously, but these were shows I was doing at the time, my union status, and more information on the back. So some of them I've gotten really savvy, and some of them are more simple. Really just depends on what's going on. I just feel like you can be more savvy than the headshot and the name. I mean, everybody's postcards that they print thousands of have a headshot and a name. Let's get more marketing and strategy oriented with our marketing materials as a performer. There's no excuse. We have the ability to do that online for very little cost money-wise. I mean, Vistaprint, you can get like 100 postcards for $20. It really won't cost you a lot in the long run, and if you can make it now for later, this is a really great use of your time. Okay, any questions, post them in the comments. If you want to learn more about branding, obviously I have that class online on Teachable. I'll post a link to that in the comments if you feel like taking that now. But I'm obviously wanting to offer you more free advice, free content as we go right now because I, like everybody else, is not working. So here we go. Okay. Anyway. All right. So I'll talk to you in the next few days. Questions, post in the comments, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.